What's up everyone, Gits here for another video on TFT, and today set 14 has just dropped. So yeah, time to grind those ranks, and to grind those ranks, we have to know what are the best comps in set 14 right now. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 9 comps. So 3 AD comps, 3 AP comps, and 3 reroll comps that will be pretty good, fairly good in this meta. And yeah, let's get on to it. So first up is going to be the AD comp. So I have 3 best AD comps right here. So the first one is going to be Divinicorp with Zed and Senna as your main carries. You also have Misfortune Flex, so very flexible comp with Misfortune as your main carry and Aurora as your secondary AP carry. Third comp for AD is going to be Aphelios AD comp, and this one's actually pretty strong as well. So let's go over each of these guys. First comp is the Divinicorp comp. So this one works well with a Divinicorp emblem, but if you don't have an emblem, it's fine. It's actually fine. You don't really need it. So this is just going to play around Senna and Zed. It's going to be a standard comp. It's not actually a reroll comp. If you go to TFT Academy though, you'll see that Senna is 3-star, but you're not actually going to play for Senna 3-star. Well, if you have a lot of copies of Senna, then yeah, good. Get it. Right? But if you are not playing for Senna, then you don't have to. You're just gonna go level 8. Try to find Zed and Snowball from there if you get any copies of Garen. Garen early for this comp is so good because of the Divinicorp mod. If you get a Divinicorp mod, give it to Zed. It's always just Divinicorp. If you get Slayer, then probably just give it to Renekton or Garen himself. If you don't have, again, the emblem, just give Divinicorp mod to Garen if he doesn't have it yet. Early game, you can actually give Divinicorp emblem to Zed, and once Garen has the Divinicorp mod, you can just put it on Zed and then transfer this over there. Okay? So the build-up of this one is pretty easy. Just play with Senna early game. You can play with 1-cost AD carries. Like, you can actually have Shaco hold Zed items or just have Rast. Actually, what I do is just have Rast hold the Zed items, and then Senna, it can be either Kog'Maw who holds the items, or the 2-cost one Vayne can also hold the items for Senna. Vex is your anti-heal. You can actually have this one as Morgana early game. Okay, Morgana can hold your anti-heal in the early game. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this comp. It's very, very simple. Like, just play all the Divinicorp units that you find along with the carries that I've mentioned earlier. Okay. Next up, we have MF Flex. Well, this one is just going to play around Dynamo. So Dynamo, you can actually start dropping these guys if you have better 5-cost units. So of course, better 5-cost units will mean either Garen, Kobuko, like any 2-star 5-cost unit. Like, the thing with this set is that it's actually really, really nice to play Flex. Like, all of the 5-cost units are super splashable into any comp, and if you have any of these guys, you can just drop any of the Dynamo units for them. And since you already have a Shojin on Misfortune anyway, that should be fine, right? It should be okay. And of course, Syndicate Hat will always go onto MF. The build-up for this one, it's going to be playing around Vayne again as your main carry. Or if not Vayne, you can have TF holding items for Misfortune, but usually it's not that good. TF is not really that good with AD items because this guy is AP and he wants attack speed, and Misfortune does not really need attack speed. But what you can do is to just give the Shojin onto Twisted Fate and have Shaco hold the AD items. Like, for example, something like this, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Misfortune comp. And then next we have 4 Marksman, 4 Vanguard. So very standard, straight up, this is what you have. So yeah, it's very simple. You can have early carry Jhin. You can also have Kog'Maw early carry. Or there's also, again, Vayne. Or you can have Senna, but I usually prefer Vayne because he uses the Rage Blade pretty well. There's not a lot of good Rage Blade users right now, but you can also give it to Jhin or maybe Jinx early game and then transition to Aphelios. Then Leona, of course, just go for early Vanguard units, right? Like Rast to hold the items. Alright, so very standard one. this one you want to play around Golden Ox. Like just scale it up as much as you can for Aphelios, especially in the late game. Aphelios is gonna hit really hard. Okay, next up, the 3 AP comps. So all these 3 AP comps is actually going to play around Strategist because these 2 units, Nico and Echo, have a really good combo being both Street Demon and both being Strategist. So it's a 2 cost and a 4 cost. So there are 3 possible carries for this comp. You have Brand for the Techie and Street Demon. You have Ziggs for Strategist and Cyberboss. And then you have Annie. Okay, so this is basically going to be the board. And then you just splash in any 5 costs that you get. Like any of the 5 costs. Samira here is also pretty nice for the Street Demon. If you have Samira, you can drop Brand. And you can just play for Annie. Annie, I think, is the highest cap for this one. The best one is going to be the Annie carry, and then Brand usually he shines when it's going to be just full Techie or build with 8 Street Demon. Or can you do 8? No, 7 Street Demon. Okay, so that's the way you can play around Brand. Ziggs can be for 4 Cyberboss, but usually 2 Cyberboss is already good enough. Kobuko and Ziggs, those 2 are already pretty nice. But if you want to have Techie in there, you can have Ziggs, right? So not Ziggs, it's Veigar, right, for the Techie, and you're gonna play around Brand as well. But I usually just prefer 2 in my late game board and just fill the board with 5 costs. All right, so this is the board for the Annie comp, so max cap Annie. So getting here is going to be pretty hard, but you need early game carries, of course. You can go with Anima Squad early game actually, with having Seraphine as your early game carry. You can also go for LeBlanc, but I don't really like LeBlanc as a carry. Veigar might be okay if you have a Veigar 2 as your backline carry. On the 3 cost side, you have Yuumi. Yuumi is pretty good with Annie items. So if you have Annie items, then yeah, you can play with Yuumi if you have an early Yuumi. Frontline, definitely just go for anything. Any upgraded frontline. There's a lot of good frontlines right now. Like you can just go with 2 Vanguard, 2 Bastion, or 2 Bruisers. Just pick whatever you want and that should mostly work. Okay, so this comp you want to be tempoing hard as much as possible, winning as much as you can, because this comp is going to be very expensive, and if you don't have any money, then it's gonna suck for you when you do your roll down at level 9 with just 20 gold remaining. Annie here as the carry is just going to need a lot of mana items. So if you don't have blue buff, that's fine. You can just build this as like Silco from the previous set. So double Shojin plus Nashor, or just double Nashor plus Shojin, or blue buff plus attack speed plus Shojin. Anything like that should be good for Annie, because you just want her to be casting as much as possible every forecast. She summons Tibbers, which is just additional frontline for you as well. And then later on in the game, once you put in Viego, you want to be maxing out your Golden Ox amp damage as well, because these two will be hitting really hard with the stacks that you get from Golden Ox. Next, this is the Techie board that I mentioned earlier with Brand. So if you want to play around Brand with a Techie, then definitely build this one. Of course, there's going to be a variation if you want to go with Street Demon. So just put in all the Street Demon units. Okay, so this is like the Street Demon variant. So if you have, again, Street Demon emblem, then go ahead and put it on here. And it's going to be, of course, still Brand carry. Wait, you don't need Veigar here. This is supposed to be Echo. So this is 7 Street Demon. Of course, positioning wise, this is going to be different based depending on the positioning that Street Demon requires you to. Alright, so you have Brand as your main AP carry, and you can have Samira, of course, as your secondary carry. You can have secondary tank with Nico and Kobuko. So it's up to you what you do at that point. Okay, lastly, let's talk about the reroll comps that we have right now. So I actually have 4 here, but I'll just consider Veigar as 1 because there's 2 routes that you can play with Veigar. It's either go with Nitro or just go with Cyberboss Veigar. Another one here is the Fiddlesticks comp, which is kind of situational. It's when you have a Bruiser emblem. It's pretty good with a Bruiser emblem. So yeah, it's kind of conditional, so you have to play around this one. And then lastly, we have Twisted Fate Reroll. Twisted Fate Reroll is one of my favorite comps right now because it's basically like Zeri from the previous set. And yeah, Twisted Fate is pretty cool. Okay, so this is the Twisted Fate board. So you have 3-star Darius, Twisted Fate, and Skarner. Darius, your main tank. Secondary tank is Skarner. Main carry is Twisted Fate, of course. And the hats, the Syndicate hats will go on to Darius plus Twisted Fate. You can actually put it this way so that people can wrap around Darius, or of course, you want to go this way as well. Well, like this, something like this. You want your enemy frontline to be wrapping around Darius because he does have the ability that hits the hex around him. But if he has the hat, it's 2 hexes, so it's pretty good to have some spaces in between him. Okay? Later on in the game, you can probably play around Misfortune, or at level 9, if you can get to level 9, play Aurora for Dynamo. And Aurora can just pull in an extra unit for that team. So that extra unit can, again, be a very strong 5 cost, like probably a Kobuko or a Zac, something like that. Or maybe Urgot even, right? So those are the pulls, okay? So this one, very, very standard. Just slow roll at level 6 and you should be okay. Next, this is the Veigar reroll. So this Veigar reroll that we have here is going to be the Nitro variant. So Nitro variant is a roll at level 5 usually because you want to hit Nidalee 3, Kindred 3, and you still have a decent chance to be hitting the 2 cost units with Shyvana and Veigar. Okay, so it's very simple as well. So you want to be able to get your early Nitro. If you don't have early Nitro, getting 200 stacks for the T-Hex might be hard, and the T-Hex is like one of your main tanks and also a huge source of damage in the late game. Next here we have the Veigar Cyberboss version. So it's going to be a 3-star Poppy plus a 3-star Veigar. Of course, you're just going to be playing around Bastion this time around. So it's just going to be Poppy with Veigar early game. And then you can put in early Techie units instead of the 4 cost, 5 costs here, just to scale up your Veigar to do more damage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You're going to be scaling around at level 8, level 9, level 7, level 8. Putting in Ziggs and Kobuko. I'm not sure if you can get to level 9, but if you can get to level 9, just put in another 5 cost unit because again, it's very, very flexible. A lot of flexible 5 cost units in here. Okay, lastly, we have this comp right here, the Fiddlesticks. Well, this is a for fun one. So if you ever get a Bruiser emblem, put it on Fiddlesticks and give him double Archangel Staff. So this is just gonna be a huge Fiddlesticks at the end. And yeah, you want to 3-star Mordekaiser and Fiddlesticks, play around 6 Bruisers, put in the 5 costs. So that's pretty much it. It's a very easy one. Also, you can get 6 Bruiser pretty early because a lot of the Bruisers are actually low cost. So you can have them over Kobuko and of course Renekton early game. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the comps that we have right now. If you have any success on any of these comps, let me know in the comments below and leave a like for more TFT guides. Of course, I'll be uploading more of my gameplays for all of the comps later on. I'll be trying all of them one by one or uploading one of them one by one when I can. Alright, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. GG's.